Welcome to Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. This week, we'll meet with Kyro Lantsberger. Tai Chi is one of his passions, and he will tell us all about it and demonstrate this martial art. Later in the program, Mark Olchefske from the Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Center joins us to talk about how their programs help people realize their dreams of running their own business. And finally, we'll learn all about what it takes to make a great cup of coffee when we visit Bliss Java Chocolate More in Mankato, Minnesota. Stay tuned for Cities on the Move. Kyro Lantsberger enjoys Tai Chi Chuan, a traditional art of physical culture from China. He joins us to give us a lesson on how it promotes a natural state of health and vitality. Let's meet him now.
Hi, my name is Kyro Lantsberger. I grew up in northeastern South Dakota in the Watertown-Kranzberg area. I'm a U.S. Army veteran of Yugoslavia and Iraq, and I'm here talking about Tai Chi. I'm an Owatonna resident for 10 years now. I began practicing Tai Chi in college. So getting to this summer will be about 15 years. If you were to look at my medical files, and especially my military medical file, you would see that I've been in a handful of fairly significant accidents. And even with those injuries and those debilitations, I think the art's given me my flexibility back, range of motion, and really helped me to rehabilitate from those things and still be an athletic, active person. Tai Chi is practiced somewhat as a martial art, not so much now as it was probably in what we call a golden age from the 1880s to the 1920s. It's also practiced as a yoga, as a meditation system, and probably the last third being an exercise in a physical culture based on traditional Chinese medicine as a healing restorative art. Tai Chi is a very hearty art. It's an art of humility and real person-to-person connection. We'd taken a lot of time over, actually years of time, to develop some of those relationships and some of those connections. Those of us in the school in Mankato already had somewhat of an introduction through one of the local teachers there, had connections back to California and connections back to Taiwan and Beijing. In terms of some really good memories that I have of those individuals that we brought here, one of the individuals I alluded to, an individual named Ling Kachin. He was a military officer in the old Kuomintang army at the end of World War II, which ended up being beaten by the communists. He was an older gentleman. He passed away a few years ago, but he was just shy of 80 when he came out to Mankato, and I think he probably threw me to the ground in the top three slams I've ever felt. In those three pillars that we mentioned earlier, as the martial art, as the meditative system, and as the healing discipline, is really, really trying to teach you how to get your mind inside your body, be sensitive to where your tightnesses are, where your weaknesses are, where your body might be off balance. The sort of engagement you get from Tai Chi, having to really actively put yourself into the practice to really get the benefit. Ultimately, I think that the type of people who are meant to get into it and stay in it really end up being a terrific bunch of people.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Center, which is located down at Nyack near Mason City. And we have Mark Olchefske, who is here as our special guest and to tell us all about it. Welcome to the program, Mark.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Well, give us a little history of what is this Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Center and where did it come from?
Well, there are 5 Pappajohn centers located throughout Iowa. You have centers at Drake, Iowa, Iowa State, Northern Iowa, and then at Nyack, North Iowa Area Community College in Mason City. So we're the farthest north. We were founded in 1997 by John Pappajohn. John's a well-known Iowa entrepreneur and one of the early venture capitalists. And he founded these 5 centers to help develop more entrepreneurial businesses within Iowa. So each of the centers works with people at various stages of their business to help them develop new enterprises.
All right. And how was Nyack chosen?
Well, John is actually an alum.
Okay.
Nyack is...
There's a special relationship
yes, there. Yes, both Nyack and Iowa. He was a graduate of the old Mason City Junior College back when that was what we used to be known. We're one of the oldest, well, we're the oldest public 2-year college in Iowa and one of the oldest in the country.
Okay. And the Entrepreneurial Center is part of the regular curriculum that is offered at the college, or is it considered a separate entity?
Well, we're a department within the college.
Okay.
And so we have 2 different sides. Our mission is really threefold. Is entrepreneurship education, which is helping train the next generation. The other is entrepreneur and business support for people who are already in business. And then the third is stimulating partnerships within different organizations and within the communities we serve to help grow entrepreneurship. So we offer, for example, degree programs, associate degrees and certificates in entrepreneurship, do a lot of training in entrepreneurship, both for conventional student population and for the adult learners.
Okay, so a student coming in, kind of looking to pursue at least their 2-year degree at Nyack, can take some of these classes and learn a little bit about what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, they can actually get an associate's degree in entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay.
So part of that curriculum is preparing them to own their own business when they leave or after they go on to a 4-year Regent institution.
Okay. Under that scenario, how is that different than a business degree, just a general business degree?
Well, within business schools, whether at the undergrad or the graduate level, you take a lot of different courses. But not all of those courses focus on the peculiar aspects of being an entrepreneur. You are prepared to work in the corporate world, but not necessarily prepared to work as an entrepreneur, because many times you're operating on your own and you are going out and having to raise capital or things that would be more staffed out. It's more holistic in that it covers all the aspects of business.
So you are chief cook and bottle washer as an entrepreneur.
And mop the floors and a few other things.
All right. What are some of those special skills that you try to help these students grasp in preparation for being an entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing is assessing, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Because with entrepreneurism, it is different than working in the corporate world. The first thing you look at are personal aspects. One, do you have a passion for what you want to do? There are tough times in businesses, and passion will get you through those tough times. The second thing is what is your tolerance for risk? Businesses fail. We can help with education and counseling and different types of programs improve those odds, but we still can't take away that full risk. So those are the 2 things. Now, of course, then we work on the other skill sets like cash flow management and marketing and all of those things.
But maybe that look in the mirror is the most important thing that they need to do before they pursue this.
Yes.
Excuse me. You also provide workshops and things for folks that maybe are already entrepreneurs. Let's talk a little bit about the services that the center offers to people who are kind of in the thick of it and maybe need a little help.
Well, we offer a lot of free programming that's available to people not only throughout North Iowa, North Central Iowa, Southern Minnesota, that they can take part in. We also have a lot of subsidized programming that is also available. One of our popular programs is the Entrepreneur Exchange, where we bring in thought leaders from around the region to cover different topics. Now, that may be Web 2.0 marketing, it may be labor law, it may be sales. Then some of the other programs we cover would be things like our leadership series, where we'll bring in national spokespeople like J. Conrad Levinson, who did guerrilla marketing, or John Moore, who was the mastermind behind the marketing for Starbucks and Whole Foods. John Stopke, the CEO of Lincoln Welders, was just here. So we have a lot of programs that are available. We also have training programs for adult learners. We have our Fast Track program, which is an excellent program for people who we call it our 10-week business boot camp, for people who want to get into business. Another program that we have is our Entrepreneur for a Day. That's a program that goes into the schools, and we actually teach entrepreneurial skills to 3rd graders and 5th graders. It meets No Child Left Behind, and every school district within North Iowa has had an Entrepreneur for a Day program. And so we also do, like for seniors and juniors in high school, we have a summer week-long residential program called the Youth Entrepreneurial Academy. Well, their students can come in and they work in teams developing a business and a business plan, and then they present it like you would for funding. And really a great opportunity because they work with a lot of active entrepreneurs.
Great, great. So as you guys are helping either these new students or some of these entrepreneurs who are already in business and they come to you, what's the most common request? I need help with X.
Well, there's a couple common requests. Certainly when a business is just starting out, their big concern is connecting to financing. And we have access to a lot of different financial programs. Now, there's programs that the state has, there's programs that the federal government have, but there's also local programs. So it's trying to match them to their particular circumstances. There are programs for veterans. Within Iowa, there's a targeted small business program that's geared to the needs of entrepreneurs who are women, minorities, or people with disabilities. So it's sitting down and looking over what their situation is in particular and saying, here is the best way to finance your business.
Okay.
For all businesses, and this never goes away, is the need to get more sales. Driving that top revenue line is a challenge every year for every company, and it doesn't matter who. So one of the things we did was develop a program called the Ultimate Sales Academy, where we will actually work with salespeople. It's an intensive 6 full-day course to make them much better salespeople.
And sometimes that is the scariest part for an entrepreneur. They know how to make a great widget, or they have a great service or great product, but it's the selling piece that is the stumbling block. With this Ultimate Sales Academy, I understand there's some train of thought that this can be learned. You don't have to be naturally charismatic to be a good salesperson. Talk a little bit about that philosophy and how you help people learn.
Well, there are 2 aspects of selling. There are the disciplines and the organization and the preparation, and then there's the actual selling and the establishing of the relationships. And some people feel comfortable with one side or another, but very few people feel comfortable with both. So the charismatic, natural, what we would consider a natural salesperson may stumble or struggle with the preparation and those type of disciplines, whereas someone who is very disciplined, maybe comes out of an engineering or some technical background, is very comfortable with how to establish and set up things, but maybe not comfortable with the presentation and with establishing those relationships. We work on both sides of that. The first thing they do is they're up making presentations. and those presentations are captured on video, and then they're critiqued, and people are working with them and coaching them and helping them to be better salespeople. They go through negotiations. They go through all different types of scenarios. It's very active involvement by the student. It's not one of those where you get to sit in the back and just
read a book.
Yeah.
Watch a presentation. This hands-on, is that part of the entrepreneurial world? Can it be taught in a curriculum, or do people really need to kind of get started and kind of fumble their way through and take courses like this that give them some hands-on experience or hands-on practice? Is entrepreneurship kind of a rough and tumble, you just have to do it?
No, really, you can prepare for that. Certainly things like Fast Track, things like the Ultimate Sales Academy, they can help you develop your skills if the passion is there. If you want to do it, and if you can accept that there's some risk associated with it. Entrepreneurism and entrepreneurship, being your own business owner, is a wonderful opportunity for people to really pursue what I call the second American dream.
Okay. And in this time, this economic time, when folks perhaps are losing their jobs, have you seen an uptick in folks that say, I have nothing else to lose, I'm going to try this idea that I've had? Have you seen a change in kind of your business?
Well, yes, we've definitely seen more people coming through the doors. The interesting thing about it is, good times or bad, you have about 10% of the population actively working on some sort of self-employment plan. Now, that plan may be a plan B that they're doing to supplement their income, or they're using it to prepare for a day where they're going to retire and they want something to still keep themselves active. Baby boomers are rewriting all the rules as far as retirement goes. And then there's some people who say, okay, plan A has gone away, and now I really need to kick plan B into gear. Again, we're there to help people who are ready to make that leap into being self-employed. And frankly, now with some of the programs that are out there within the stimulus package, within the Workforce Investment Act, some of that training and some of that assistance has been enhanced, and now people can take advantage of it.
Maybe a good time to check it out. For folks that are interested in how to connect with the college, whether they're a 2-year degree student that's kind of finishing up their high school and hey, maybe this is something they want to try, or someone who's already in business, how do they make that connection with you? How do they find out what programming might be available or of interest to them?
Well, the easiest thing to do first off would be to check out our website. It's niacc.edu/Pappajohn. Or if they're interested particularly in the Ultimate Sales Academy, it's ultimatesalesacademy.com. Or call us. NIAC they certainly do a lot of advertising, and they'll be happy to connect you to the Pappajohn Center, and we can talk to you about what your particular needs are.
All right. We talked a little bit about your most common question of I need help in this area. What do you see as a good or a positive profile of someone who would make a good entrepreneur? What are their strengths?
Well, there really isn't anything that you would call a typical entrepreneur. It doesn't respect age or gender or income or education. We worked with one gentleman, he's 12 years old. He formed his own welding company and was doing work for some city work, did some welding for them. We had another fabulous couple who were in recovery, and part of their entrepreneurial dream was to enable their business to help other people going through recovery to maintain their sobriety. So there really isn't a prototypical entrepreneur. It really comes back to, what do you have a passion for? Do you have a tolerance for the risk? And are you committed to being a lifelong learner? Because the successful companies, the people there are constantly learning, constantly proving themselves, and constantly changing.
Never ends. Very good. Well, if you are someone who has an idea for a business and you've always been interested in pursuing it, Mark and his team down at NIAC with Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Center would be more than happy to visit with you about what you can do with that idea. Mark, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right. Stay tuned for more Cities on the Move.
Cities on the Move is on the web. Make a comment, ask a question, or share your good idea by visiting our website at ksmq.org.
A couple of coffee drinkers decided they enjoyed their local coffee shop so much they wouldn't let it close. Let's take a closer look as they share their secrets for a good cup of coffee.
For many, the smell of a freshly brewed cup of coffee is what gets their engines running in the morning. This once utilitarian drink has become the new wine, with unending flavors and variations. Today, coffee is one of the most popular beverages worldwide. Lori Wiebesick and Julie Anderson were two coffee lovers who enjoyed visiting over their morning cup at a local coffee shop in old downtown Mankato. When they heard it was going to close, they took measures into their own hands and created Bliss Java Chocolate More.
This was a coffee shop for about 5 years before we became owners of the coffee shop itself. I think we had such good time sitting out on the patio that when they announced that they were going to close this place, we had just thought, we just can't let that go to waste. We loved it out there. So we're a pretty traditional coffee shop, I think, in that we offer coffee and espresso drinks and smoothies, and then we have panini sandwiches.
And their coffee draws a diverse crowd.
In the morning we will, generally speaking, have probably a little bit more of a professional crowd that's working on projects here quite often. Then in the evening, I think we tend to get a lot more college students and younger people, and I mean, they're interspersed and they interact pretty well most of the time.
And the coffee is what they all come for. Because Lori and Judy enjoy coffee so much themselves, they make sure they're offering the freshest, best coffee and coffee drinks they can to their customers.
I'm pretty much addicted to the French roast. I have that pretty much every day, and we have it on the menu every day just because it's a really good coffee. So it's kind of like a house standard in some ways. We also then just vary our light roast throughout the day and every day. Coffee is very much like grapes in that it picks up the essence of the environment that it's growing in. So if you have anything from like Ethiopia, you'll taste a lot of blueberry because there's a strong fruit element there, and other places will be earthy and they might have vanilla. And so it's kind of interesting because even from one country to another, you'll get different characteristics from different growing regions.
Bliss works with B&W Roasting to secure their freshly roasted beans. Chrissy Kelsch explains the different variety of beans.
There are two main types of coffee beans. There's the Arabica bean and the Robusta bean. The Arabica bean is what you're mostly going to find in any specialty coffee roaster. Most specialty independent coffee shops use only Arabica beans. Coffee is produced pretty much all over the world. So some of the big coffee producing countries, Brazil is huge. A lot of South and Central America in general are huge for coffee production. You'll find it mostly in the higher altitudes in the warmer climates like I was talking about, and a lot of places near volcanoes. So
once the beans are roasted and delivered to Bliss, Lori and the staff ensure a fresh cup every day.
Our process after we've gotten the beans, I mean, we keep them stored in a cold or cool, dark place to keep them fresh. We order them so that we really don't have them for more than a week. So the next part of the process is we grind them in our coffee grinder. You want to keep the burrs sharp and have the right consistency so that it releases the best flavor out of the coffee. The water needs to be at a certain temperature, but that's pretty much all automatic. You know, I guess we really rely on that equipment a lot.
Besides a straight brewed cup, espressos are very popular.
Espresso is actually a blend of several different coffees. We have about 5 different espresso blends, and they're all a little bit different to create different flavor profiles.
The espresso drinks, I think, that are most popular would be just pretty much a standard latte, which is an espresso. You can get as many shots as you want into a glass, basically, and then it's steamed milk, and sometimes people add flavor, and then it's got a little froth on top. That would be your standard latte.
Lori and Judy have made sure the cup of coffee they enjoyed is still available to others.
The other thing that's a really rewarding thing is that I really never thought of this being such a social place, you know, and I guess I should have, because, you know, Judy and I sat outside and talked and everything, but It seems like it really meets a need for a lot of people to be able to come in, and it's also a networking place. I mean, we have people working on movies, and we have people doing poetry, and we have people displaying their art, and so it's kind of really wonderful.
Bliss Java Chocolate More, making Mankato a city on the move.
Cities on the Move is on the web. Make a comment, ask a question, or share your good idea by visiting our website at ksmq.org.
Springtime brings us many more events and activities. Here are a few you may want to consider. The Blue Earth County Historical Society will be celebrating with a 20-year tribute to the Hubbard House on May 30th. Costumed guides and characters will be on hand to share the story and participate in vintage photo ops. There will be an all third grade class reunion where generations of third graders have visited the Hubbard House can come to share their stories. You can also meet craftspeople and companies that have been part of the historic restoration. For more information, visit becshshistory.com. On June 6th through 7th in Winona, visit the Great Dakota Gathering and Homecoming. The Reconciliation and Homecoming was organized to educate and pay tribute to our pre-European history and to honor elders and descendants across the Dakota Nation. This year's gathering will recognize roles of American Indian women. For more information, check out visitwinona.com. On June 17th through the 21st, enjoy learning about Faribault during its Heritage Days. Enjoy live music, carnival rides, and great food in Central Park, and visit all of the activities around town. For more information, call 1-800-658-2354. And for more information on these and other events, please visit us at ksmq.org. Next week on Cities on the Move, we talk with a model train collector from Faribault and visit the world's largest wood carving museum in Harmony. Please join us Tuesday, May 19th at 6:30 p.m. on KSMQ for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the Blandin Foundation.